Hello, everybody. Today I have another special guest, professional rugby player Senzo Ngubane. Well, he's going to tell you a little bit about himself, but what I know already and what I can tell you already is that he started his professional career in Scotland and in 2010, and then after a little setback he had, he continued his career in Germany, where he plays until now. But before we hear the whole story, Senzo, it's a pleasure to have you here. Can you please tell us how all this started, how you started journey as a professional athlete?
Hi, Michelle. Good evening to you. Good evening to all your viewers. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure. Yeah, my journey started back in South Africa. I'm originally from South Africa. I'm from a small village called Mvelabusha, but I grew up in Durban. Most people know Durban, one of the most beautiful cities in South Africa. And, growing up in a great family, three siblings, parents, loving parents. And in South Africa, when you're growing up, you go to either a boys' school or a girls' school or a mixed school, boys and girls. So I went to a boys' school and we were introduced to different sports. I tried basketball. I was too short for basketball. I tried soccer, football. I was too slow. I tried cricket. It wasn't my thing. I was a chubby kid. I was a bit fat. So rugby made sense for me. So when I picked up the ball, I ran it at people. I enjoyed it because I used to dominate the collision. So my love for rugby started at the age of, I would say, 14. At the age of 14, I was like, okay, I want to play this game. I was quite a heavy child, fat. So yeah, it started back there in high school, Durban High School. It's a school that really introduced proper rugby to me. It's where I really fell in love with rugby. And since then, when I turned 16, 17, I was like, man, I'm not bad at this. So I really gave it my all, because I don't come from a rich background. I didn't always have what I wanted. And I thought if I give this a go, it could open more doors for me, for example, moving overseas,
Yes, of course.
So yeah, I used every opportunity that was given to me. I worked hard and I'm grateful where I am today. So God gave me this talent and I used it as a vehicle to improve my life and to travel the world. And that's where we are today.
Was there any specific moment, anything that actually inspired you to become a professional, to decide, no, that's going to be my job, that's what I'm going to do professionally? How how you decided
Yeah,
that?
back in South Africa, when you don't have everything, I wouldn't say I was completely struggling, but I wasn't satisfied. So when I looked at my life, I was like, I don't really want this. I want more. I want more of life. So that inspiration of wanting more and wanting to help my family and wanting to live a better life, it pushed me to work hard. And I was like, hey, let me go for it. When you're hungry, when your back's against the wall, you go all out because where else can you go? So for me, I was inspired by my family, inspired just by the opportunity that I could get. I was always ready. I was always ready. My family, my siblings always knew when I'm not at home, I was somewhere training, I was somewhere running up the hill, or somewhere at the gym. So it was I'll probably say my family. I was inspired by my family. I wanted to better our lives. I wanted to travel the world. So it clicked at like 19, 18. I was like, I'm going to go for this. I'll give it my all. So I was very fortunate that it worked out.
So how did it happen that you went to Scotland?
Yeah, so it was always my dream to go abroad, and just one silly day I was sick, really had the flu, laying in bed at home, and my manager called me. He's like, hey, our club needs a player in your position right now. Are you ready to go? I was like, no, you gotta be joking. But I was ready, I was ready. It was perfect timing because I was at my lowest. I didn't even go to university, so I was just sport. I went to a rugby school, a rugby academy. So it was either this or nothing. So when the call came, I was like, I prayed. I was very happy. I was in tears, man, because there was no other opportunity but this one. And yeah, the call came in, and I was like, I was ready yesterday, so let's go. We went to go get my visa, and yeah, we got the ball rolling. A few weeks later, I was in Edinburgh, Scotland, in winter. So you can imagine that I left South Africa in summer never been to Europe before, landed in winter, November in Scotland. I was like, I'm not sure if I want to be here. The weather, it was really cold, but
Yes.
the dream was, my prayers were answered, so I had to make it work. I
Yes,
had to
well,
give it all.
definitely.
Yeah,
Doing
give it.
everything with end in mind, yes?
Yeah, the breakthrough was there. Yeah.
Yes, and you started to play, but I did mention the setback before, and that was injury in 2011. Can you tell us a bit more about what happened?
I still get emotional when I talk about this time of my life. Oh, it was tough. It was really tough. I went back home for a short visit, and while I was there, I was playing for my club. I played for Varsity College All Boys, and it was a freak accident in the scrum. We collapsed, and everybody kind of like fell on me. So I landed on my neck very badly. I knew right there something is wrong. I heard a click. So I went to the doctor the next day. We did MRT scans. And they said, man, the first doctor I went to, he said, you're done. He said, you're done. You never come back from this one. And I just couldn't
Yeah.
believe. I couldn't believe him. And I'm quite a spiritual guy, so I didn't want to believe what he told me. Obviously it hit me. I was like, are you serious? So I went for a second and third opinion. I went to the second and third doctor, and those two luckily said to me, hey, there's a chance. We've seen this before. You might just need to have an operation. If you're lucky, you could come back to rugby. But in the back of my mind, I still had that thing that the first doctor told me. You might not come back
Mhm.
from this. This is it. It's a proper fracture. It's dangerous for you to go back to rugby. He wouldn't advise me to. I have no chance. So yeah, 2011 was a very, very rough year. I wouldn't wish that kind of experience to anybody. It was really, really tough. It got to me. It got to me. I
Mhm.
was at the lowest. I've never been so low in my life. Everything I lived for, everything I fought for, I trained for, was taken away from me just like that. I was out the whole year. You know, walking around with this
Yeah,
thing,
with a collar.
neck brace. Yeah. So, that year was tough. Very, very tough. Uh, I get emotional speaking about that year. Yeah, it was
But
very, very tough.
tell me, it was tough, definitely. Well, I can't even imagine it because well, I've never been in a situation like that, likely. But in a tough moment, I know that from my personal experience and from what my clients tell me, because I deal a lot with stress management, that it's good to have someone to have your back, to be there for you. Who was there for you when you had those difficult moments?
My mother, 100% my mother. You know, I have a very close relationship with my mother, so I share almost everything with her. And she was my pillar. She was my rock during that time. If it wasn't for her,
Fantastic.
I was gonna quit. I was ready to stop and quit, go back to university, and just give up on my dream. My mother was there. She was calling me daily, praying over the phone. I remember just having phone calls with my mother, 30 minutes, she's praying and praying because she's a believer. She's a strong, strong woman. She believed I could go past this stage. She could believe. She made me believe I'm gonna win this. So my mother was, yeah, she's my rock. Even still today, I'm really blessed to have such a person next to me, behind me, supporting me. So yeah, I'm glad I had her at that time because I was ready to quit. I was ready to be like, I don't want to face anything like this ever again. So
Were
yeah,
you
my mother.
considering, were you considering to end your sports career back then?
Yeah, because imagine I was high, living the life in Scotland, and then going back home and get injuring myself, and then 1 year I'm out and I have nothing, no income. I got nothing going on for myself. So
Mhm.
you get a little bit of pressure from family. What are you doing? Get a job, go back to university. What are you doing? And all these questions. I had to answer all these
Mhm.
questions, but deep, deep inside, I still had that dream to play this game. So yeah, my mother
Yeah.
believed, that I could get out of this, and I'm glad she was there around that time.
Yeah. Well, the
And because
questions,
yeah, it was
I know.
depression. Although days was like, man, I'm depressed. I'm man down here. But with communication with my mom, I could put my chin up,
Yes,
and
well,
you know,
I feel
yeah,
you now because I know what it means. I know all these questions and good advices from people who look at everything just from their perspective and never been as high in something as you were in rugby back then. So I know how it is to listen to people who actually never went for the dreams,
exactly.
asking you about what you do now, just
Exactly.
getting
Yeah.
ready for you to join them rather than get better. I'm glad you had your mom there,
Oh yeah.
and I'm glad well you went through it that well and well the way you did and went back to playing. So you started to play in Germany then, yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Straight
I moved
away.
to Germany a year later, 2012, end of 2012. Yeah. I was obviously a bit worried, scared playing again because of my neck. You have that little fear. What if I get another
Yes.
big hit? But I did so much physiotherapy that my neck was strong again. The doctor said that it's a complete recovery. My neck is strong
Fantastic.
again. So yeah, they said it happened so quick. It's kind of like a miracle. When they did scans again and again, they were like, "This is quite a miracle how you healed so quickly." And I look back to my mother's prayers. You know, yeah.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I got back. Got an opportunity to play in Germany through a friend of mine. I moved here and I never looked back. I'm here about 8, 9 years. I've even
Mhm.
represented Germany, the country, the national team. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the experiences.
Fantastic. But well, it's great experience. I'm sure about that. But there is your career is getting to an end. I know that already because you told me when we spoke before. So what next? What after you retire from professional sports?
Yeah, so I'm looking for the last season now. So next year summer I'll be done. When I just weighed things up and I realized it's good to hang up the boots. Hopefully win the championship, this year. And next is exactly what I'm doing right now. Personal training. I started my own business. You know, I started my own business as a personal trainer,
Fantastic.
and I want to continue with that. I fell in love with the gym. Training, working out while I was playing rugby. I always
Yes.
look forward to training. When it was training time, I was always the guy in the front. I was always one of the strongest guys in the team. So I decided, hey, this is a passion of mine. Why don't I make it my lifestyle, my career? So I'm glad I could convert
Great
a
choice.
passion of mine to a career. Yeah, you
Well,
know.
and we can mention as well that the gym that people can see in the background behind you, that's your gym
Yeah,
that you
sitting
set up
inside the gym
already
right now.
and where
Yeah,
you work with your clients.
exactly. Yeah, we're in Heidelberg. Beautiful gym. So yeah, I have a good times with my clients. Really awesome.
Fantastic. And we spoke about this as well before that it's all important, the strength, speed, agility. Uh, but because of the experience that you went through, I wanted to ask about something else. I want to ask about mindset because you keep on saying, oh, well, I was always training, I always wanted to do it. And well, technically, you didn't take no for an answer if someone would would tell you there is no chance for you to play. You just said
Yeah,
yes, I am going to play, and you did,
yeah,
and you healed really quick,
yeah,
miracle the doctor said,
yeah,
with your full recovery. What about your mindset then? What about athletes mindset? How
yeah,
do you think? How champions think?
yeah, yeah. Mindset is everything. Mindset is absolutely everything. There's a saying that says, "What do you think you're right? What do you think you can or you can't? Both are usually right." Right. So mindset is
Definitely.
everything. I look back in my career, games I played where I believed in myself, I performed the best. When I went in there with confidence. It's key. you know what you think is very important. When you think about yourself, when you think about your teammates, your position plays a role with how you act, how you play. So a weak
Mhm.
mindset produces weak results. A strong mindset produces strong results. So yeah, it's something that we work on. Personally, I work on a lot. It's the most important thing. you know
Perfect.
you have to win the mental game first before you win the physical game, in everything,
Yes.
even in training. I tell my clients, let's win the mental game first before we start working on you. you know
Fantastic.
some people are
No.
just mentally weak, and no matter how hard you help them train, they they just quit. They're easy to, like, I can't do this. So they haven't won here. So that's where it should start.
Exactly. Mental
Yeah,
health is a key to succeed anywhere,
yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
And yes, you went back from a really bad accident. You went through everything, and you mentioned that your mom's prayers helped you a lot, and you believe they did, and you
Yeah.
started to look at everything more spiritually, and you consider yourself as well spiritual person. Can you tell us something more about that?
Yeah, I think looking back to my life and all my experiences, I've seen the hand of God in many of my things so much that I have no doubt whatsoever anymore that God is there. I have no doubt. I've seen Him work within my life, around me, so much that, hey, it's there. I don't need any more proof. So, yeah, I'm spiritual. I come from a Christian background. My parents who grew up young, going to church and everything, and yeah, it's my driving force. It's my hope of glory, Christ. So whatever I do, I put Him first, and I do it for His glory. And I believe when He's on my side, I cannot be defeated. And that's where I get all my confidence from. Me as a
Fantastic.
person, as Senzo, I can only do so much, but with God I can do all things. So that's how I operate. And it's how I've been operating since a young child. I grew up this way, and it will not change.
That's very deep, Senso. Thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Yeah, pleasure.
And what I would like to ask you as well now is, well, if someone wants to well, follow your career, see what you're doing, how you work in a gym, maybe get in touch with you and have trainings with you, where people can find you on on the internet, social media. Do you have social media accounts, a
Yeah,
website maybe?
yeah, definitely. So I do live sessions. So people come into my gym, everybody who lives around my area, Heidelberg, Germany, and online sessions. So it doesn't matter where you are. It can be in Africa, it can be in the United Kingdom, America, it doesn't matter. I have Instagram, so Senzo Fit underscore personal training. So you'll find me there. And I have my website, www.senzofit.de, and Facebook as well, Senzo Fit Personal Training. So
Fantastic.
you can
And
find me in all
well,
three.
what I'm going to do to make it easier for people, I add the links below the video that I'm going to upload.
Yeah,
So if
fantastic.
guys, if you want to follow Senzo, see what he's doing, just open the description below and click the link and follow him on social media. And yes, well, before we finish, Senzo, there is one last question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Tell me, what one piece of advice would you give to a young person who decided to be professional rugby player like you did?
Oh, that's a good question. I have to answer that in three. Okay.
Go
First
on.
thing is believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your God given talent. You got to really back yourself. Secondly, be willing to put in the hard work. Work on your craft. Don't just fold your arms and think things are going to come to you. Work hard. Really, really work on your craft. Improve yourself. Always be learning. And yeah, thirdly is you got to have stamina. Stamina meaning you got to have a strong skin. Okay, things are going to happen. Okay, you might need to wait 10 years until the opportunity comes. You might get an opportunity, and then after 2 months they're like, no, we don't want you. So you got to have that stamina, meaning you got to be willing to bounce back when things get tough. Stamina
Mhm.
means you got to be stay strong. Like internally be strong, because it's not going to be an easy road. It's tough out there. So you got to build that stamina, be strong, because it's not going to be easy. You know, Opportunities will come and go. You're going to get injuries. You're going to get haters. You're going to be discouraged a lot on your road. So you got to
Mhm.
have that. You got to be strong. You got to work on a strong mind. Very, very important. I found,
Yes.
because a lot of things are going to happen. They're going to force you to want to quit. They're going to force you to doubt yourself. But if you have a strong mind, you got that stamina. You're going to push through until you make it. I think that's very, very important. One of the most powerful things we can do for ourselves is to have or build a strong mind. Yeah,
Fantastic. That's very important as well. Well, I can see it when I work with people who, well, need to manage stress and are usually on the high positions everywhere in the business world
yeah,
and sports as well. Yes, what you're saying is right. The stress management and the mindset, dealing with things that are going to happen to everyone,
Yeah.
It's not all beautiful. We know that
No.
because, well, you're in sport, I'm in business, mental health, and I can see that, you can see that, and probably anyone who achieved something can tell you the same thing. Your mental
Oh
health
yeah.
is number one.
Yeah. Certainly.
Good.
Certainly is. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Senzo, thank you very much again for being here today. I think we're going to finish for now, and well, hoping for more and having another chat, maybe about something else, maybe being a bit more specific. So thank you
Absolutely.
for your time. Thank you for sharing the low moments, because that's usually difficult.
Yeah.
And well, I hope you guys get a lot from it, because there is a lot to take in here. So yes, thank you, and well, we'll stay in touch definitely.
Thanks so much for having me here. It was a pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you, Senzo, and see you again.
Cheers. Cheers. See ya.